Are you overlooking a gold mine of gigs in the senior living scene? Today, I interview 3 senior living lifestyles directors, and they give you the inside tips and secrets on how to get booked. So let's get right to it. Hello and welcome to the Notable Musician Podcast. My name is Deanna, and today I am super excited to share with you 3 people who work in the senior living community. They are lifestyles directors, and they are going to give us the inside scoop on how you can perform for senior living communities. The other thing that is so awesome about these 3 is that they are also performers as well. So they understand both sides of the coin. I'm super excited to bring them up. And first, we are going to have Michael. There
Hi,
we go. Hi, Michael. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. My finger kept tapping back and forth. I'm like, it's too slow.
No
But you made
worries.
it. You made it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here with us
Yeah,
today.
thank
Can
you
you
for
go
having
ahead
me.
and tell us who you are? Yeah.
Yeah, well, my name is Michael Slagle. I am a lifestyles activities director at Allegro in Winter Park, a senior living community. And I've been doing this for about the past activities for 4 years, but I've been in senior care for about the last 8.
Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you again for being
Mhm.
here. And next we have Mark. Hello,
Hello.
Mark.
Hello. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you? Why don't you
Good.
go ahead and introduce yourself?
Well, I'm Mark Ryder Hearn. I have been in senior living for directly senior living, just only doing senior living for over a year, but I have been in senior recreational activities for over 25 years, where I've worked with different cities and governments to put together senior programming.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you again for being here with today. And next we have Miss Christine. Hello, Christine. How are
Hi, how
you?
are you? I'm Chris Gerard. I'm Chris Gerard. I just retired from Madison at Ecoe. I was their life enrichment director for about 14 years, and I've been an activity director for about 25 years in the Orlando area.
Oh, wow. So you've got a lot of experience to share.
Oh, yes.
That's awesome. So, Michael, why don't you tell us a little bit about your performing background?
Yeah, sure. It's kind of a cheesy story, but I grew up just singing and dancing and putting on shows for my family. Like I would gather them all in the garage and I would come up with like this set list and sing and dance for them. I did dance classes as a kid, and finally, when I got to high school, there was we were at a pep rally, and they're like, "All right, well, we have the drama club. Come try out, come audition for something." I was like, "Well, let me give it a shot." And so I got cast in a role there, and I've been doing theater ever since.
Awesome. And how about you, Mark? How did you what is your performing experience?
I started at the age of 3 singing in church. And I went from singing in church to doing main stage performances from high school all the way through college, and then as a professional opera singer, and also as a professional um, musician. I've been able to not only just sing, but I also play the clarinet. I don't know if you knew that or not, but I do play the clarinet as well. So
Oh,
I have been in the world of music since the age of 3, and have performed on many different stages with different, from everything from musical theater to opera to just straight plays as well. So I've run the gamut.
and a movie too, I might add.
In a movie, yeah. Actually, actually 2 movies. I've actually was in 2 movies. So one you guys
Oh,
may know. The one was Sharknado. I was in Sharknado.
I did
3.
not know that.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
wow.
was in 3, and I'm featured in The Youngest Evangelist.
Okay. All right. I'm Sharknado is not really my thing, but I'll have to look it up so that I can see you. All right, Miss Chris, why don't you tell us about your performing experience?
Well, as a youngster, growing up, did dance until high school. Um, then became a mom, and I have, two girls, and got them into the dancing background. When I moved to Florida in 1990, my first job was Baby Shamu at SeaWorld. Did that for many, many years,
Oh,
and then decided to look into a different type of job, and got into senior living. But also, when I worked at SeaWorld, I loved the mimes. Learned to perform doing miming, watching the mimes at SeaWorld. I've been doing miming now for God over 30 years. I love it. And I would perform for the residents. I also performed for a different convention in the Orlando area, and just love it.
that's amazing. You guys are so talented, and I'm so thankful that you guys are here today to share your unique perspective as lifestyles directors. So my first question for you is our, audience are typically performers, and senior living is a venue that they can, perform at, but a lot of times there are some, stigmatisms that go along with performing for seniors at senior living facilities. But we're first gonna start with your expertise. Can you tell us, what advice you would give musicians who are interested in performing at senior living communities? And anyone can answer in no particular order.
I'll go. um, as far as getting involved, just call them. Call them, ask to speak to the lifestyle director. You know, so many of my entertainers that I have now are from someone called me and they said, "Hey, I'm a performer. I'd love to come and perform." And I always ask for like a video reference or something. That way, I'm not just pulling anyone out. And if it seems like they've
Yeah,
got some talent, let's give it a shot. Come sing. Come try out. So always just call, and then, during your
awesome.
performance, have give them some energy. Don't just sit there or stand there and sing and not move around. They're going to get bored. So have some energy. Be entertaining.
I would also add to that, know your audience. One of the downsides is that when a person comes to senior living, they're expecting one thing and they don't realize that many of the seniors are very active and they want to be challenged and they want something that's interesting. Just because you have a good voice or just because you can play the piano or just because you have a talent doesn't mean that you're prepared to perform for senior living. So you need to know your audience and know what you're putting together. Just don't put random things together and hope that it works. Make a effort to really know what you're doing when you get there, so that way you don't embarrass yourself and or never get called to come back.
I
Both great
feel
advice.
the first impression is always important. A lot of times, definitely find out who the activity director is. Definitely get their email. Continue calling. Try or stopping in. Sometimes even stopping in, introducing yourself. Introduce yourself to the residents, because they're the ones that will tell the director, "I want that person back." Also, find out what songs they like, what type of music they like, because they tell you what they want in a performer. And if it's someone that they love, they're going to keep asking you, "I want that. I want him back. I want her back." You go by what they want.
Love that you
Yeah.
said that though, because a lot of the performers that I have sometimes will, especially if they're new, or even if there's someone that we have all the time, they'll introduce themselves, and then at the end of their hour, they pack up their stuff and go home. But I have a few people who will actually stay after, talk to the residents,
Mhm.
and introduce themselves. Hey, my name is Michael. What did you think? And get to know them on a one-on-one, you know, actually know who they're performing for. That way, when they do come back, those connections have been made.
Because they definitely
Yes,
tell
I think
you.
that's very important.
Definitely.
Go ahead.
They definitely tell you when a performer has left. They'll keep coming up to you and saying, "Chris, when is so and so coming back? I want him to come back. Have you booked him yet?" They know, because a lot of times we book the entertainers months in advance. So they want to know when so and so is coming back, especially if they're going to be out for the day. They want to make sure they're there front row to get to see their performer, someone that they love.
Yes, I think that is very important. And one of the things that I talk about on this podcast is one is networking. And so all of the things that you guys talked about, one, calling or dropping in and introducing yourself, and then speaking with the residents and asking them what they want, all of that is very, very important. And I know that sometimes as a musician, we go in thinking, well, here's what I have to offer, and sometimes it's kind of a take it or leave it mentality. And one of the things that I try to impress upon on this podcast is that our musicianship is not for us. The gift that we have is not for us. It is for other people. And so if we are sharing our gift, then we need to know who we are sharing that with. And sometimes that means performing songs that you probably wouldn't choose for yourself. You don't wanna choose songs that, you would sound horrible on, but you do kinda wanna find that middle ground where you are giving them something that they want, and you're doing something within your talent as well. And I think when you do that, you end up with a win-win. So, how has your experience as a performer influenced your role as an activities director or lifestyles director?
Well, one of the things that I would say is that I have compassion for the performers. So if they're doing something that I think won't work, I'll pull them aside and let them know, hey, that may not work. I also ask them a lot of questions before they come. So there are certain things that I will key in on when they say, hey, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. One of the prime ones is comedians. Comedians many times want to come to the facility and they want to entertain, but sometimes they don't realize that the audience that they're entertaining don't know the joke that they're telling. They can't relate to them, or they don't understand what they're talking about because they're not using AI, or they're not using computers in the way that some of the people may present. So I have to make sure that when I speak with them, I ask them a few questions and ask them what their presentation will kind of look like. And yes, you can kind of get a feel for that in things that they have on YouTube. And sometimes if I see something or hear something, I kind of redirect them and tell them exactly what I need.
I think
Michael or
also when you
Chris, do
have
you
an
have any?
entertainer that they like, oh, I'm sorry. An entertainer that they like, to make
Go ahead.
sure that the music is not always the same. A lot of times the resident will say, well, we like him, but he plays the same songs all the time. We have to take them and say, listen, you know, the residents want to hear some more songs. So definitely change up your routine. Um, and that will make the residents feel like, wow, okay, he's playing some new songs. Because a lot of times, if you just keep doing the same thing over and over again, they might say, well, we like him, but can we get somebody else? And a lot of times that definitely makes a difference.
My repeat entertainers, I try to space them out as well. And you, as an entertainer, this is one of the things that you might want to think of as well. If you came there 1 month, the next month you might not want to come back the following month to kind of give yourself a chance for them to hear some different people and see some different things. And if you do come back, I try to bring them back every 8 to 10 weeks compared to bring them back every month. So each month there's going to be a different person, a different entertainer, so that way the residents don't get frustrated because of the fact they're hearing the same thing. But then also the performer doesn't feel like they have to keep changing their repertoire so much, because of the fact that it's hard sometimes to update your repertoire and be really good at all the different songs that they would enjoy. So one of the things is that you as an entertainer need to think about that as well. Try to space yourself out. You know that during certain holidays you have a repertoire that works for maybe 4th of July, or you have a repertoire that works for Christmas, or you have a repertoire that works for Halloween. You just space yourself out and call different locations so that you're not coming every single month. It's nice to have a stable gig, but also if the people don't like what you're doing every month, you're gonna lose the opportunity to come back.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And I like what you said about like freshening it up, because let's be real, some of these residents, they eat with the same people at the same place at the same time every single day. So any chance for something new, they love it. Keep it fresh, Yes, they're creatures of habit, but their entire life shouldn't be one big rotating pattern. And
Mhm.
that also comes with performance, do something new.
Yes, I want to piggyback on what what all of you have said. One, Christine, yes, not, performing the same things because I myself, as a performer, I get bored. And so if I'm bored, they're going to be bored. And if I'm
Mhm.
singing the same thing or playing the same thing over and over and over again, that energy is going to show that I'm kind of, tapped out a little bit too. And
Mhm.
then, one of the things that you said, Mark, about, pacing yourself and stretching it out. I do have some senior living gigs where I am there every month, but I do have a different show. So, one of the things, if you are able to perform a lot of songs, making themes. So, theming it out is something that can help you to create a variety for the residents. Sometimes even thinking outside of the box. Like I had a radio show and I played, music from the golden age of radio. I did a little like quiz where, we talked about some of the shows during that time. It was just something that was completely different. And some songs were new, and then some songs were songs that I had, performed for them before, but it was just a different perspective for them to think about.
Mhm.
So, that's one thing. And then, Michael, I just lost my train of thought. What were you just talking about?
Just about how they, yes, they're creatures of habit, but they sit in the same place with the same people at the same time for dinner every single day. So any chance to freshen things up, it's exciting for them. It might be small to the performer, but to them, it's huge.
Mhm.
Yes, yes. And, again, going back with variety and you know, like I said, if you are bored as a performer, then they are going to be bored as a performer. And it may be comfortable for you to sing the same songs over and over again, but it is really a really great habit for us as performers to delve out into something new and try something new that you wouldn't necessarily have done before. So really all great points, musicians, performers, take that, write those notes down. What are some common challenges or frustrations you face when organizing entertainment for senior living communities?
I think
Uh,
my biggest thing is, and this is sometimes no fault to the performer at all. The performer can be great, but not everyone likes the same thing. I have, some entertainers where half of the audience loves them. And then there's a few that are like, I didn't think it was that great, and it's just reminding yourself that you can't please everyone, because there are going to be times where, not everyone's going to like the same thing. And that's okay.
Mhm.
One of the things that I wrote in my comments earlier is that we come from a society where Circus LA changed the circus. And many of our residents, they have been exposed to a very diverse um, entertainment style. So you also have to be mindful that being I think Michael mentioned this earlier, just a stand and just sing and just vocalize some songs, that is not entertaining. That is not entertaining. You may be a great singer, but if you're not moving around, you're not interacting with them, you're not speaking with them, and you're not making it engaging, um, no one's going to want to hear you as a performer. So you have to think about that when you go to a show or when you go to a concert, you're looking at the total package, and the whole gist of it is the entertainment side of it. If there's not smoke and fire coming from something, you're probably going to be like, oh, that wasn't as good of a show. Even in the opera, we have changed some of our setup to make it more enticing because people have seen these operas over and over again. So what are you going to do to make it more exciting so that the audience come back and see something that they haven't experienced before? So you hit it earlier, Deanna, as well. You said give them a experience. So imagine yourself being there and you want to create a experience.
Yes.
That
How about you,
definitely is
Chris?
true. I think also doing one on one. A lot of my entertainers that come, they'll actually go up to some of the, especially the ladies, and if you just take that little extra couple of seconds to maybe go up to one of the ladies, maybe touch her hand or just sing like one little song, a couple of the notes to her, that makes such a difference to some of this. Mostly, I think most of are women, because a lot of my entertainers are male. We do have some female entertainers that come too, but the women just like they want it. They want to be recognized. They want to have that little bit of moment that, oh, the singer sang to me. And that could make them have a special moment in their day.
Mhm.
That's one thing I do wanna touch upon because this actually happened to me in February. I was hired, for Valentine's Day dinner, and the lifestyles director came to me and he said that everyone was beside themselves because I was coming. And I'm like, why? I had caroled there before as a Dickens caroler, but they had no idea who I was. And he said that they have not had a female performer the whole time he was there. So can you kind of tell me a little bit about, like, that perspective? Because Chris, you touched upon that most of your entertainers are male. Is that the case, and why do you think that's the case?
I don't know. I mean, it's funny. Like we have a couple of the female entertainers that would come too. And we have one gentleman that he made sure that he was at every one of her performances when this performer would come. And it's just I don't know, maybe it's just the entertainers that are out there. It just seems that the years that I've been doing it, most of the entertainers that come are male.
Hmm.
I've been able to change that up a little bit at my facility. And one of the things that I did is that because I am in the entertainment field, I've been able to reach out to some of my friends and personally invite them. I think that many times it's easier to bring in a male sometimes because
Hmm.
unfortunately, many of the facilities have a strong population of females that
Yeah.
are in the facility. And so, just naturally, it's a natural feel for the ladies to be drawn to the male performers. But recently we've received a lot more males that have been in the facility. So we have a nice balance now. So I've been able to balance it out. So just the other day, I had a Hawaiian theme where we did a pink party. So hot pink July. And we had Hawaiian dancers, and I made sure we had a female and a male dancer to come in and dance, just so that we could have the diversity in that process. But I do encourage for those who are listening to us, if you are female, do reach out to the senior centers because the fact that it's also good to have a female voice from time to time because it allows them to hear things that they could possibly do or possibly sing because at my facility we have a choir and I want the ladies to come so the ladies can hear other females and think of songs that they may want to sing themselves.
Hmm.
And kind of touching on that a little bit, I notice a pattern. Like if I have a female performer, I know I'm going to see a lot more of our guy residents out, and the same thing like opposite. And I hate to say this, but if you're a male performer, a little wink and it goes a long way because it makes them feel special.
Yes, yes. And I think too, because I have talked to other female performers, I think there's something innate in our personalities where we kind of discount ourselves, if that makes sense. Where, if maybe we are not getting the reception that we want, or we're not able to get in contact with the lifestyles director, that professional persistence, I think we stop a lot sooner than our male counterparts do. And I think, there may be some who are trying to promote other venues as well. And because it's not, it's hard work that goes into booking yourself and have that persistence to keep going and not doubting yourself, but just don't give up, because that's the only way that you fail is if you give up. But if you keep trying and you keep going, then you will find some success. And for me, like at this facility, they were like, "Oh my goodness, a female." Yes, I do agree what you said, Mark, that they get to hear songs that they don't necessarily get to hear from male, because there are songs that I sing that are sung typically by females that are not typically sung by males. And so, like some musical theater pieces, they're like Phantom of the Opera. Like, you really can't have a male singing Think of Me. I mean, you could, but it just kind of lays a little bit different. And then one of the other things, I was at actually Michael's place yesterday, and one of the residents, she came up to me and she's like, "I come just to see what you wear." She's like, "Every time you come, you're wearing something different." And she's like, "I just want to know what it is." She's like, "You sing great, but I love to see what you're going to wear."
I
And
hope you
I
know
think that also.
the days that you're
Yeah, go
there,
ahead.
like that morning, I'll hear them talking in the bistro like, "What's she gonna wear today?" Like, I hear it every time you're there.
And I do have to say that Michael is awesome, because he will, like, go along with me. I'm like, "Michael," yesterday, I'm like, "You know how to do the robot?" He's like, "No." I'm like, "Come on." And they absolutely love it. Like, when you guys also, because you are performers, you have that thing in you. And when you guys actually join us in that, they absolutely love that.
And the thing with that is I even try and will get, like, other people who aren't in the activities department to get involved and, like, dance a little bit, because it might be something so small for us, but the residents see us having fun with them. It means more than you know to them. It means a lot to them to see you interacting and engaging, in something like that.
It
Yeah, and
definitely makes a
sometimes that
difference.
Yeah, and sometimes that opens the door for them to feel a little bit
Mhm,
more free to, like, get up and do something too.
mhm.
But we have some performers that come that, well, I'll get the kitchen staff to come out and dance with them. So this way the residents get to see that I get the staff involved. A lot of times the kitchen staff doesn't come out to they're in the kitchen all the time. I bring them out to dance with the residents, because most of the time the CNAs are out. But to get other departments, I had the maintenance director one time come out and dance with one of our female singers, and the residents they said, "Oh my goodness, he can dance." It was great to see the maintenance director out there doing it. And it was good for him too, because he got to really see how the residents felt about him too, because he was kind of a little bit of a quiet gentleman. But they would say, "Oh, you were such a good dancer, that was awesome, that was
Oh,
awesome." And that was nice for the residents to see that.
yes. That's an amazing interview. Check out the second half right here.